Hello, everyone. Dr. Mad here. Let's get mad about Macbeth. So, in this lesson, we're going to look at three scenes: Act 5, Scene 2, Scene 3, and Scene 4. So, fairly short scenes, which is why we're looking at three in one go. But let's listen first, and then we'll go through them.
The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Seward, and the good Macduff. Revenges burn in them, for their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man.
Near Burnham Wood shall we meet them. That way are they coming.
Who knows if Donalbain be with his brother?
For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Seward's son, and many unrough youths that even now protest their first manhood. What does the tyrant?
Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule.
Now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief.
Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start, when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there?
Well, march we on, to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine at the sickly wheel, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us.
Or so much as it needs to dew the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march toward Burnham!
Bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. Ha! Till Burnham would remove to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that do know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall e'er have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by, and the heart I bear, shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear. Sir! The devil damn thee, black, thou cream-faced loon. Where got's thou that goose look?
There is 10,000.
Geese, villain!
Soldiers, sir.
Go, prick thy face and overred thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers? Patch! Death of thy soul, those linen cheeks of thine are counsellors to fear. What soldiers? Way face.
The English force so pleased you.
Stir, take thy face, hand! Sit down. I am sick at heart when I behold. Sit down, I say! This push will cheer me ever or disseat me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the sear, the yellow leaf. And that which should accompany old age, as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have. But in their stead, curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Sit down.
What your gracious pleasure?
What news more?
All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported.
I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor.
'Tis not needed yet.
I'll put it on. Send out more horses, scur the country round, hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick-coming fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart.
Therein the patient must minister to himself.
Throw physic to the dogs, I'll none of it. Come, put mine armour on, give me my staff, Seaton, send out. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch, if thou couldst, Doctor. Cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health. I would applaud thee to the very echo that would applaud again. Pull it off, I say. What rhubarb, senna, or what purgative drug would scour these English hands? Hear'st thou of them?
Aye, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something.
Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane.
Were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here.
Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand. The chambers will be safe.
We doubted nothing.
What wood is this before us?
The wood of Burnham.
Let every soldier hew him down a bough and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host, and make discovery err in report of us.
We learn no other, but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane, and will endure our sitting down before it.
'Tis his main hope. For where there is advantage to be gone, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constrained things, whose hearts are absent too.
Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership.
The time approaches, toward which advance the war!
Okay. So let's go through the scenes now. So we don't need to go through every single line of these three scenes. I'll just point out the main lines. So notice that as the play comes to an end, Shakespeare is using these short scenes for a number of reasons. Firstly, he needs some of them for continuity to show the story, the progression of the story, but also what effect are these short scenes creating? Pause the video and have a think about that. So the answer is that he's using these short scenes to create a dramatic effect. As the end of the play comes and the story comes, the short scenes create an exciting, dramatic ending, okay? So this is to do with form. So form means type. So this is a play, it's on stage, and if you can talk about form in your essays, then you do get higher marks because it's something that not many people do. Okay, so here they're just talking about battle plans and what's going on with the war. So here it's just saying that the English soldiers are near, led by obviously Malcolm and Seward and Macduff, and it's just saying that they're obviously burning for revenge because they've got good cause, right? Malcolm's father has been killed, his crown has been taken away from him, and obviously Macduff's wife and children have been killed. And Angus says, we will meet them near Burnham Wood. They're coming in that direction. And here he just says, is Donalbain be with his brother? I mean, this is just continuity, okay? Shakespeare's just filling out the story. We don't need to worry too much about all this. And Lennox says, no, I've got a file of names. And Seward's son is there, and lots of young people, youths who are just about becoming men. And then Menteith says, what does the tyrant? So this is obviously who? This is Macbeth. And Caithness replies that he's strengthening the castle. Some people say he's mad. Others think that he's just angry, brave. He's got brave anger. Either way, he can't control himself. And Angus says that he's now feeling his secret murders sticking to his hands. So this is interesting because we know that Macbeth and Lady Macbeth see and feel blood on their hands, both literally and metaphorically. So this is kind of like a reference to that. And every minute it says that people are turning against Macbeth, and the people who are following him are only doing it to follow orders. They're not doing it out of loyalty. So love here means loyalty. Now this line is important. So it's saying, now does he feel his title hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. So a simile, Shakespeare is using a simile to show that the role of king is too big for Macbeth. Macbeth is starting to realize that he's not big enough to be king. Okay, he can't retain the kingship. So the giant's robe is the kingship, being king, and obviously we know that he stole the throne. Okay, and then here he's saying that no wonder Macbeth is angry and out of control because he knows from inside himself that he's done wrong, that he got the throne by wrongful means and he's committed all these terrible murders. Anyway, then Caithness says, well, we're going to march on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. So they're talking about Malcolm here. So being loyal to Malcolm. And they're going to meet with Malcolm. And so this is a metaphor here. So medicine, this medicine here is Malcolm of the sickly wheel. So wheel means well-being, or so they're saying that Malcolm is going to cure Scotland, okay? And he's saying that with him, we are ready to give all our blood, every drop of our blood. And Lennox says, or as much as we need to help the king, the rightful king, and drown the weeds, meaning to kill Macbeth. Let's march to Burnham. Okay, so short scene there. The only quote you need to worry about there is maybe this one here. So think about it. What does this quotation mean? I did tell you. Do you remember? So pause the video, try to answer it. And I'm going to give you the answer in just a few seconds. 3, 2, 1. So simile being used to show that the role of king is too big for Macbeth and he's stolen it. Okay, so that's really all you need to know about that scene there. And then scene 3, Macbeth is cornered and he's preparing to fight to the death. The doctor brings news that Lady Macbeth is mentally ill. But even in his cornered state, Macbeth shows concern for Lady Macbeth and asks the doctor to try and cure her. So if you get a question about the relationship between them, this is something that you can refer to, this scene. But also this scene is important in other ways, as we shall see. So basically, Macbeth is cornered and he's saying, I don't care anymore. I don't want to hear any more news, although actually he does ask for news later on. Throw all the reports away. And he says, until Burnham Wood comes to Dunsinane, I don't need to be scared of anything. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? And he's saying that the spirits, the witches and so on, who know all these things, have told me, you don't need to be scared until a man who was not born of woman, only that person can do anything to you. But of course, we know that everybody's born of a woman, right? So he's saying, then fly false stains, so false lords, and mix with the English epicure. So epicure means someone who loves pleasure, but that can be a positive or a negative. It can be a compliment or a criticism. He's using it as a negative. He's Scottish, remember, and he's basically saying that the English are soft. And he's saying, my heart and my mind will never shake, will never tremble from doubt or fear. And then the servant comes in, and Macbeth berates him, calls him a coward. So cream-faced loon. So the servant's face is white with fear. So he's calling him a fool, a coward. So goose look, scared look. And then, as you heard, the servant tries to report there's 10,000, but Macbeth interrupts him before he can complete the sentence and say, what? 10,000 what? 10,000 geese? And obviously soldiers. And here he's just again berating him, saying, go and make your cheeks more red. Lily-livered, again, means coward. Patch is another word for fool. I mean, you don't need to know all this, but this is just revealing Macbeth's state of mind. He's berating this poor servant who's helpless, right? And he's saying that, oh, your fear is making other people scared. And then whey is the watery part of milk. So again, it's just another word for white. And the servant says, it's the English soldiers who have come. And he says, go away. And then he calls his other main servant, Seaton, I'm sick at heart. Now, but notice this scene here. Now, remember, this is a stage, and there are different people there. There's Macbeth, there's Seaton, there's the doctor, there's probably other people. So at this point, it's very confusing because we don't know who he's talking to. And this is typical Shakespeare. He doesn't give us many stage directions. You have to work it out. But in a way, that's the point, that this speech has the effect of showing us how confused Macbeth is. He's out of control. He doesn't know what he's thinking. So as we'll see here, so first he says that this invasion will either cheer him up forever or unseat him. In other words, if he wins, Macbeth, then he's safe. If he loses, then he loses his crown, his royal throne forever. But he's accepted it either way. And that's very straightforward. I have lived long enough. And this sear means dried up, and yellow leaf, what do you think that refers to? Autumn, yeah? In autumn, the leaves turn yellow. So he's saying it's a metaphor that he's kind of approaching the autumn of life, the midlife, okay? And he's saying that the things that you would normally expect in old age, honor, love, obedience, lots of friends, I can't expect them. Instead, I'm going to get curses, and I'm going to get lip service. People will pretend to love me, but they won't mean it. And the only reason they'll deny that they're just saying it is because out of fear. Dare not, out of fear. Okay. Seaton, he calls again. And now Seaton finally enters and says, what can I do for you? And now notice he says, what news more? And yet earlier on, he said, bring me no more reports, right? So he's all over the place right now, which is not surprising. I mean, no matter how brave you are and what a great soldier you are, if you know there's an invasion coming, of course, you are going to be a little bit scared at least. And Seaton says, yes, everything is as reported, as the servant said, and as all the reports have said, they're all true. And he says, okay, then I'm going to fight till my flesh is hacked from my bones. Give me my armor. Seaton says, you don't need it yet because they're not quite here yet. And he's saying, well, I'll put it on anyway. And he says, send out the horses, and anybody who's talking of fear or who's scared, hang them. And then he repeats, give me my armor. But now notice he has time, even amongst all this, to ask the doctor about Lady Macbeth. And the doctor says, well, she's not really physically ill, but she's got these mental issues which are keeping her from sleeping. We know she's been sleepwalking. And he says, cure her of that. And he says, can you not cure a mind? Can you not take out whatever these sorrows are or wipe these things from her brain with some kind of antidote that makes her forget? So oblivious means to forget or to be unaware. And clean up whatever it is that's weighing upon her heart, making her heart heavy. But the doctor says, no, mental problems have to be cured by the person themselves. So obviously this was back in the day when they didn't have anything like psychotherapy or anything like that. Nowadays, we do have cures for mental illnesses. And then Macbeth says, oh, basically your medicines are useless. So physic here means medicine, not physics in today's sense of the word. And he says, oh, useless, get rid of it. And then, now in this speech here, he's talking, 1 minute he's talking to the doctor, 1 minute he's talking to Seaton. Okay, so now here he's talking to Seaton, give me my staff, my fighting stick. Seaton, send out the soldiers. And now he talks to the doctor, the thanes fly from me, the doctors fly from me. And then here he's talking to Seaton again, comes to dispatch, send out the soldiers. Now these lines are interesting because different translators translate them differently. Some people say that he's talking about Scotland. Others say he's talking about Lady Macbeth. To my mind, if he's talking to the doctor, surely he must be talking about Lady Macbeth. He's saying, can you find some kind of cure, some potion, find her disease, and restore her to her original health? And if you did that, I would applaud you to the end of time and back. But her, countries are sometimes referred to as her, she as well. So this could be he's talking about Scotland, but how can the doctor cure a country? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. And remember, in your essays, when you're not sure about something, so especially with Shakespeare or poetry, when you do the poetry lessons, don't worry if you can't work something out, because actually you can use that confusion to your benefit. If you give more than one meaning, you actually get more marks. So you're kind of converting a negative into a positive. You're converting your confusion into double marks rather than losing marks by ignoring what you're reading or what you're hearing. Pull it off, I say. Now this could be speaking to Seaton, pull off my armor, or help him with to take something off so that he can put his armor on. Or he might be saying to the doctor, "Oh, can you pull off this trick?" Right? And then, but here he's definitely talking about the English soldiers. That can you think of a drug or some kind of a herb that would get rid of the English? But here he's definitely talking about the doctor. So as I say, it's very, very confusing who he's talking to. But like I said, we don't need to worry too much about it. The main thing is it shows his confusion, his state of mind. And the doctor says, or he says, "Have you heard of the invasion?" And the doctor says, "Well, your preparation is making me aware." Now, this line is confusing. Bring it after me. He's probably talking to Seaton there. He's saying, "Oh, bring me something." Anyway, he says, I don't need to be afraid of death or anything that causes death until Burnham Forest moves. And then the doctor says, "If I were far away from Dunsinane, no amount of money, profit, would bring me back here." Okay, so here are some key quotations and some questions. Please pause the video and answer these questions. I'm going to move to the answer slide in a minute, in 3 seconds. So pause the video. 3, 2, 1. And there are your answers. Okay. And then very quickly we can finish the next scene here. So the enemy soldiers disguise themselves with boughs, main tree branches as they advance. And Malcolm says, hopefully the time is near when the country will be safe, people will be safe in their rooms. Okay. And Menteith says, yes, we have no doubt about that. And C would say, what wood is this? And it's the wood of Burnham. Now, so this is to do with the prediction now, yes? So when the witches said, oh, until Burnham would moves, what they meant was that, so these soldiers are going to disguise themselves with branches. So when they move, it'll look as though Burnham Wood is moving. And he's saying by that we can trick people into making errors about what they're seeing and trick them about our numbers. So the soldiers say, yes, we'll do that. And Siwa says that we've heard that the tyrant Macbeth is sitting in the castle and waiting for us, that he's going to try and put up with our siege. Okay, so this is referring to the siege. And Malcolm says, well, that's his main hope, because whatever advantage he's got, he's losing it because more and more of people are revolting against him, turning against him, and none of them. They're only. This is repeating what was said earlier, that they're just following orders or obeying him out of fear, not because their hearts are in it. And Macduff says, well, look, let's not try and work out what's going on. Let's just be good soldiers And when we get there and see for ourselves, then we can decide and see what says, yes, the time is approaching, when we'll know what to do or what not to do. In other words, when they get to the castle, no point to try to guess, speculate, no point trying to guess. And if you notice, the audio version actually skipped some of these lines, so we don't need to worry too much about this. Okay, so which apparition does this scene relate to? There's no answer slide. I'm just going to give you the answer in a second. Pause the video if you need to. So the answer is obviously the third apparition. So remember, first one, beware Macduff. Second one, none of woman born. Third one, Birnam Wood moving to Dunsinane. Okay, so there we go. 3 scenes in 1. I hope you found that useful. And if you like this video, please do subscribe and tell all your friends about it. And I'll see you in the next video.